Hi everybody, welcome to the Pagan Perspective. My name is Tatiana, this is Subs Week, and this week I'm answering your questions for me. First of all, I'd like to apologize if this isn't my best video, but I've been feeling a bit poorly these days. I think I have some sort of flu. But I really didn't want to skip this video because so many of you sent in questions for me, and they are very interesting questions. Some of them deserve a whole video dedicated to them. So I'm really sorry if I don't answer these more elaborate questions with as much detail as I would like. What I'll do is I'll try to answer everything briefly at least, then I'll try to make additional videos with more detailed answers, and I will post them to my personal channel. And by the way, thanks so much to everyone who sent in questions. If you are not subscribed to my personal channel, it is in Portuguese, but I'll make these videos in English. I'll put the link in the description, and you can also keep up with everything I do in my Facebook page, and I'll also put the link in the description. Okay, so let's get cracking with the questions. Lippywitch, who is our Friday sub, she asks, how many languages can you speak? I speak 4 languages, Portuguese, English, French and Spanish. Also, do you use any alternate language in your practice? I only use Portuguese and occasionally English. What inspires you in what you wear and decorate and etc.? Like any particular era? I was a teenager in the 90s and I had really terrible self-esteem, so I remember those days all I wanted to do was hide and disappear in the crowd. So I don't think that I got to enjoy the fashion of those days. But these days I'm not so concerned about what other people think of me or about what I wear or what I do. So I think the way that I dress and the way that I decorate has become some sort of artistic expression. Being an artist, I think I express myself in the way that I dress, in the way that I decorate my home. So I think today I'm sort of making up for lost time and for all the fun that I did not have with my clothes. And I love rocking 90s fashion. I love 90s grunge, 90s goth, and we also had a new age movement during the 90s, which used a lot of the 70s aesthetics. And the 70s also influenced me quite a lot. My mom was a hippie in the 70s. She was a young adult in the 70s. So I ended up inheriting some beautiful flowy hippie gowns and crochet tops and leather bags and beaded belts and plenty of hippie jewelry. So the 70s are a big influence in my life as well. Phil Christophers asks, can you play something on the harp behind you, or is it someone else's instruments? That's my harp, my Celtic Lion Healy harp. I have another harp in the living room, which is a pedal harp, like the ones you see at the orchestra. And Essence Raven Sage asks, how many instruments do you have or can play? I play the harp, the piano, I play the Irish bodhrán and the Irish tin whistle. Rocket Rocketto, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your username wrong. They ask, my question is, where did you get that lipstick? And they are referring to the video that I made, Witchcraft, Natural and Synthetic Materials. What is it called? Brand? It's Cyber by MAC. Hi again, this is day 2 of me trying to shoot this Q&A video. I really wasn't feeling well yesterday, so I had to stop, and indeed I'm not all that wonderful today either, but I'm not giving up on this video and I want to answer more questions. Otrask asks, what do you do for work, career? I am a composer, classical composer. I write music for the orchestra and I am a visual artist. Nina Niskanen asks, what is your ethnicity and what countries have you lived in? And Love Life 090994 wants to know where I'm from. They say your accent, I've never heard one like that and it's charming to me. Well, thank you. Well, about my ethnicity, just like most people here in Brazil, I am one great big mix. So I am French, Dutch, Portuguese and Italian. And now about my English or my accent. I learned English in London. I've only lived in Brazil and in England, in London. So I guess that my accent must be kind of British, but it's probably not the typical Londoner accent. I tend to say like computer, not computer, so I don't drop my T's or my H's, which is quite common in the Londoner accent. Some people think that I'm trying to sound posh. I'm not trying to sound anything, I just want speech clarity. I'm interested in you understanding me. But I guess that sometimes that I do sound a bit posh, and that's most likely because growing up in England and learning English, I was surrounded by my family friends. My dad had several friends that were professors at the university. My dad is a theoretical physicist and he worked at the City College and the Imperial College in London. And those friends, they were quite posh. So I think as a kid I must have picked up some pronunciations and a bit of their accent. Celestial Fire 1 asks, I saw in another one of your videos that you read extensively. In reading books by pagan authors from different countries or from other types of interactions with other pagans, what major differences have you encountered? Do you see these differences as roadblocks to pagan unity? Well, to answer this, I'm gonna quote the famous Scott Cunningham. Indeed, I've received initiation into several Wiccan traditions, each with their own rituals of initiation, Saba and Esba observances, names for the goddess and the god, legends and magical lore. But after receiving these secrets, I've come to realize that they're all the same, and the greatest secrets of all are available to anyone who takes the time to view nature as a manifestation of the god and the goddess. Of the goddess and the god, Each tradition, expression of Wicca, whether passed down or intuitively performed, is akin to a petal of a flower. No one petal constitutes the whole. All are necessary to the flower's existence. Shavana Connell asks, how is it being a pagan living in Brazil? And Love Life 090994 asks, what do you do as a pagan when someone's intrigued in your path, but you don't know how to tell them more? Well, about being a pagan in Brazil, it is not a common thing at all. So we do not have events or conventions or festivals. It's hard to find material at bookstores if you want to study from books that are written in Portuguese, which means if you don't speak English and if you're not used to buying books online, it can be a bit hard for you to study. I do know that this book by Scott Cunningham, it's been translated to Portuguese and it's The Guide to the Solitary Practitioner. So if you're in Brazil, have a look at your local bookstore, you might find it. I do know that there's a small, maybe medium-sized Wiccan community here in Rio, but I know nothing about it because I'm not Wiccan, I'm a pagan witch, and I'm a solitary practitioner. But I reckon these Wiccans that participate in the community here in Rio, they must not feel as lonely as I do. Not that I'm complaining about being a solitary practitioner, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that being a solitary practitioner here in Brazil doesn't get a bit lonely at times. It does. I believe that a few things that have helped me keep strong in my path is that I speak English. I have a strong connection with England, and I have a mentor from England who I keep in touch through the internet. So you really have to be determined not to give in to the blues and stop studying. You really have to stay focused and determined. Love Life 090994 asks, what do you think a pagan parent should do to have their children understand their tradition? Well, about kids, I think that nothing should be forced. A parent might want to invite their kids to joining celebrations in a fun manner. They're kids after all. But if they do not take an interest, if they do not have that natural curiosity, maybe paganism is not for them. And they will probably find their own way in their time. Or Trask asks, I would love to hear a little more about your interest for dolls, how it started, how many you have, and what do you like to collect? And Essence Ravensage also asks, how many dolls do you have and how long have you been collecting them? Well, dolls, yeah, it's a big subject in my life. Truth is, I never planned on being a collector. This wasn't planned. It was just a natural evolution of buying one doll today and one doll tomorrow and never stopping. So I ended up with a humongous collection of dolls. It did take me a while, though, to call myself a collector. For quite some time, I simply thought I was a crazy doll lady that liked to buy dolls and display them beautifully. But yeah, I think I've become a collector. And my mom has her own personal collection of dolls. Excuse me. I think that she's to blame in some way for my passion for dolls. I think her passion rubbed off a bit on me. So we sort of collect together, and my husband also has his own collection of Lego and action figures. I guess it became sort of a family tradition in a manner, a way of living. And it's quite fun, and I'm not embarrassed by it. And I have a few dolls here that I collect. I like Blythe dolls, and these dolls, I know they creep some people out, but I don't care, I love them. And they can be customized, like so. This one is supposed to be a Selkie girl from the Celtic mythology. So she has this whole seal and sea theme going on her face. I think the Blythes are my favorite, but I do have a soft spot for living dead dolls, and they can be terrifying, especially if you're scared of dolls, but I love them. I also enjoy genie dolls from the 50s. They were the first fashion dolls before Barbie. I have a huge collection of strawberry shortcakes. This one is the traditional American party pleaser, strawberry shortcake. This one is lemon from the Brazilian collection. I have the American collection, the Brazilian collection, the Argentinian collection. I have a few Barbies from the 80s and the 90s because look at her, she's so fabulous. I have a decent-sized collection of my childs from Mattel, and they were quite famous in the 80s. They were only produced from 89 to 88, and they were replaced by the Cabbage Patch dolls because Cabbage Patch dolls were less expensive to make. So you maybe remember them. And Novi Stars and Zelfs, which are modern dolls. This one does look like the troll dolls that we had in the 90s, doesn't it? Okay, please excuse my cat in the background. The following 3 questions, I think I will have to make separate videos answering each of them because they are more complex and they are subjects that I enjoy, so I have quite a bit to say about them. And the 3 questions are by Emily Bourdet, Randall Crazen, and Phil Christophers. Please forgive me for not being able to answer all the questions today. I'm feeling really unwell. I will put all 3 questions in the description as a teaser for you, and I will post the videos to my personal channel, and I will also post on Facebook. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled. Thank you everyone who sent in questions. Again, I'm really sorry for not being able to answer all of them, but I'm really feeling like death right now. So yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.